quick question for you, LRock.
I may have an answer.
What does CC mean?
Credit clear. 1CC,
Okay.
1CC stands for one credit clear. It means you beat the game on 1 quarter.
I was like, I'm hoping that's right, but I was like, I don't want to be wrong.
I didn't know they pulled over to me already. How's everybody doing? Appreciate the question there, Sheepy, and I'll make sure to address everybody as well. Hello, chat. Hello, SpeedGaming too.
Hi, chat.
Thank you so much.
I'm Sheepy. This is LRock617 with X-Men. He's doing a 1 credit clear 80% 2-player Japanese.
Hopefully, 1 credit clear. This game is hard. This game is really, really hard. All right, so appreciate it, Sheepy. Thank you. All right, so for those of you that may be wondering why I have the menu up at this time, this is just in case I PB in this marathon. There's the leaderboard has a specific rule where you have to show the difficulty before you start your run. I don't know why that's the case, but here we are. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get us on into our menu, onto our game, rather. So some of you all may have seen this game before, and this is actually a fairly new official category for the game. I've been doing 1CC runs of this game for actually not even going on, well over 2 years now. The other officially categories, I can actually like try to do speed for it. So here's the deal. What I'm gonna try to do is complete this game on 1 quarter, which is 2 lives. The reason I play the Japanese version for 2 player is because 1, it's fastest, and that's about it. Technically, some people could say it's easier. I don't think it's easier. I think it has a lot of quirks that make it rather difficult. But as long as the power of Storm is with us, I think we're gonna be okay. So let's go ahead and fire on our quarter. We're gonna highlight Storm because she's the only character we're gonna be playing at 3, 2, 1, go. As mentioned, Storm is bae. She is absolutely the best character in this game. She's the character I started playing when I really wanted to learn how to play this game, and I just have no regrets. She's just way too good. Quick thing to note about the JP version of this game, you get an additional moveset. I did not want to get shot by that. That was dirty. I gotta go. I'll deal with him in a moment. I'll explain that, but this guy is really starting to work my gears, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do this. Sit down, please. Normally I'd be using mutant powers here, but that guy hit me, and I didn't appreciate that, so we're gonna go ahead and just pluff through this. Here I'm gonna throw 7 enemies on screen at once. This is why we can speed this. Push a button, 7 enemies die. Seems pretty strong. Good to do this as well. Then this. So I'll explain more about Storm's moveset here in a bit, but first stage is so short that I'm just gonna get right here to the boss and make quick work of Pyro, I hope. Only a 5-cycle fight. I can hit him once to start his iframes. He's gonna flamethrower. I did not want that to happen. But that's okay. Again, fairly simple fight, but he can troll us on time by just jumping a lot, which I'm not a big fan of. There's more iframes, cool. All right, I was debating using mutant power there, but I wasn't quite sure what cycle he was on because he did hit me with that dive kick. Anyway, stage 2, bit more fleshed out, bit longer of a stage. So as I was saying about Storm, Storm's moveset in this game is completely busted, especially in JP. Normally you only get access to this attack, which is just your neutral A, 5A I believe it's referred to in fighting game vernacular. But in the Japanese version of the game, 5 of the 6 characters, poor Nightcrawler doesn't get 2 of them, get 2 additional attacks that they can do by doing diagonal inputs. Storm's is holding down and forward towards the opponent, and just pressing the attack button. I want this guy to get on screen so I can do this. You may have also noticed there are enemies that drop. There's an enemy in the first stage that dropped a health up, and that's why we get to abuse all the mutant power stuff we're seeing here. Because those drain health second in JP, but we're making use of stocks first before we have to make use of health, and of course we do that through that too. Definitely hoping for some good luck here. I do not want to get trolled. That was insane. Killing 3 enemies with 1 throw is always a good time. Kill this. Got 1 more spot for this mutant power. Anyway, you're gonna be seeing me use this attack pretty much all the time. This move is amazing. It has ridiculously long range. It's very fast. It recovers even faster. And it's generally just an amazing keep out tool, which I'm gonna show here on Blob. Well, as long as I don't play like an idiot, Blob is just never gonna be able to touch me. Like this attack just, it's basically just his Lord and Master. He can't fight this at all. He is going to get iframes at some point, and I'm going to dodge that. There's where he was going to gain them. You have to just count the cycles, and after 2 hits, he's going to be like, yeah, you can't hit me. And if you swing, then he gets to counterattack you, and you don't want that, because his melee attacks do a lot of damage. The club swing he uses does 4 damage, and you only have 10 health, so best to avoid that. Stage 3 is where the game really begins. Have new enemies. These lizard men are quite obnoxious. I tend to want to use mutant powers on them if I have the chance to, just because their movesets are not expansive, but unfortunately they are really strong. All they can do is this lunging tail swipe. That was rude. Where they hit you from afar, and it does 2 damage, which I really don't want, because it also causes hard knockdown, and nobody wants that. We're gonna let these flowers spawn. These guys can be annoying if they get loose, so I'm just gonna take care of them. Got another guy with the health up here. These pink sentinels you're actually not going to see in any other version of this game. Hence why the JP version is absolutely the fastest version to run. But they're the ones that drop everything. Get some back attack option select. You also see me do a lot of ground attacks, as you see here, because it's free damage and they can't really respond to it. Really good. What's also really cool is when you're doing grounded attacks, enemies can actually swarm up on you and try to gang up and do what things and whatnot, but if they come up behind you and your rhythm is good enough, you'll actually just be able to hit them with a back attack and ward them off. Took care of our B fight really quickly. That was a really good throw. I don't think I deserve that throw, but I'll take it. Take this. This game's music is hot jams too. Like, I love this soundtrack. Well, these guys show up on screen because I don't want to fight 3 lizard men at one time. Screw this. Sentinels, admittedly, do have more health than the lizard guys do. They take 2 cycles of knockdowns unless you throw them, but throws not a guaranteed input. It just happens sometimes. Do a quick bit of wrestling here. Off the top rope. Only got 1 target with that, unfortunate, but still okay. Witcher's gonna die there. Could have gotten 1 more mutant power there, so I did lose some time, but we're gonna do that. Snag this. Everybody pay attention, because he's gonna say the thing. Get out your toilet paper memes. I did not want that to happen. By that I mean that guy hitting me. Take care of those guppies. I don't know what those enemies are called, but that's what I call them. Similar to Blob, Wendigo is pretty darn easy. Just do a bunch of lunge hits. You can't really fight this. He can actually somewhat fight it with an attack lunge that he can do, but I actually am able to buffer that by moving away after I hit. As you can see, I'm leaning left a little bit after an attack and then just going back in again. The fight is long. It's like 9 cycles, I think. 3 hits. But still fairly formidable. It's not a hard fight. In fact, that probably gets my vote for easiest fight in the game if you're playing Storm. Playing anybody else, toss up. Alright, stage 4. This is... I know I said stage 3 is where the run really begins, but this is where the game actually starts to become difficult. Essentially, every enemy group we've seen up to this point is going to be appearing in this stage. And they're all going to make life really, really difficult. Just going to take that out. Yeah, welcome to Ply being the meme. If Magneto goes to shop for toilet paper, welcome to Ply. Welcome to Pie as the bakery. Welcome to Cry as the soap opera. So these lizard men, they actually gained a new attack in this stage. Ooh, that was very lucky. Where they can spit hot fire at us with that yoga flame. Not a big fan of that. It's actually really dangerous to try to combat. It's a really good anti-air. It's incredibly strong in mid-range, and it does 2 damage and causes a hard knockdown, so we just best to avoid it. I'm gonna do this, knock them down. Let these guys show up so I can do this. Got us some mutant power stock. As long as we can play our cards right and maintain our health through here, we should be fine. I'm actually gonna take this guy out with a dive. Did not want that. Total whiff, not good. Kill this guy real quick. I'm gonna let these guys spawn. Let that guy get up so I can do this. Just kill him so it's free. So we're gonna have our bat fight. If I can lure him up to the corner properly, I will be able to infinite him in the corner. Just rhythmic tapping. That fight can get out of hand because sometimes those bats get in the way and they take the hits instead, and that's really all they're there for. They can hit you, but that's not the primary reason I'm concerned with them. The fact that they can sponge the damage from the big guy, that's the problem. Depends on the version for the speed run. For the JP version I'm playing, probably Nightcrawler. For the US version, Cyclops. Funniest thing about this game, it has like 9 different ROM sets and they all play completely different. And by that I mean like level design is different, move sets are different, mechanics are different. Like it amazes me how much replay value they got out of this game. I did not want that to happen, that was bad. All right, fine guys, be jerks. I'll let this pink guy spawn up here. I want him to come up here. If he doesn't spawn all the way on screen, he can spawn that off screen and we definitely don't want that. That was really rude though, by the way. Those dudes were doing some pretty ridiculous movements. We're gonna do this. I don't actually know the names of those enemies with the giant cannons. I just refer to them as Samuses because they look so much like Samus Aran. So you have red Samuses and green Samuses. Red ones are very, very dangerous. On the ground, they have a ground shot that they can not only do at any range, it's very fast, and they can also do it as an evasive maneuver. It's pretty silly. I'm gonna do this. Got 1 more health up before our boss. This, swing that, snag this. Okay, so here we have Nimrod. Not my favorite boss fight, but of course, once again, Storm's gonna win the day. There is one attack he has that's actually really scary. He can throw out this energy wave that can actually outrange my attack, which he just did there. If he does that with iframes, it's the worst. Like, it actually gives him a massive advantage. Does 3 damage, don't ever want to see it, but sometimes we see it. Like you saw it there. Good thing I was at full health. But for the most part, he's just not going to be able to beat this move. We're just going to be able to poke him to death, beat out your drama queens. I think that's the loudest explosion in the game. But we rescued Kitty, and that's cool. I don't know why she couldn't just phase through that, but either way, now we have to go find the professor, who has also been kidnapped. Group these guys. Stage 5 is interesting. I actually really enjoy playing this stage for the most part, unless stuff like that happens. Like, that guy did a perfect dodge on that. I'm kind of salty about that one. But no big deal. I'm going to let this spawn. Do not touch me. So I can just kill all that at once. Probably shouldn't have used that on that red Samus. So now I'm going to do a bit of duck and cover. If I hang out behind this wall, no enemies who go to the right side of the wall are going to be able to hit me. So they have to work their way around to the left. And this way I can bottleneck them quite a bit more efficiently. Get this guy down so I don't have to deal with him. He's not dead, but I want to make sure he's prone. Okay, so I'm going to let some other things spawn here. Take the health. Whoa, did not want to get hit by that. So here's our first mid-boss that we're actually going to see a refight of later. Emma Frost she's not that difficult, but she, much like any other boss who has 2 legs, can abuse iframes, so we're going to have to watch out for that. Yeah, just like that. If you see it miss and she comes at you with that, just get the heck out of the way. That move is, again, hard knockdown like anything else bosses can do, and it does 3 damage. We're not trying to take that kind of damage here. That's actually a damage buff that they receive in the JP. In US, I think they only do 2 when they knock you down. But you also don't get the expanded moveset and the health ups. Very important. I don't know why I did that. I should have just tornadoed here. Do this. I actually don't want that pink guy to hit me. I'm going to try and string him along as the game will let me. Okay, not very long. This is fine. Spend health. Free health. That's kind of where a lot of this comes in. It's like, how much health can I abuse to make sure that this goes as efficiently as I want it to? Take this, get some dudes on the screen, kill all this. I'll let some of these enemies spawn as well. I'd like the red guy to go to the right, but I don't think he's going to. Yeah, okay, we'll take care of him by himself. That was actually scary. Okay. Take out this guy here. Here we have a new set of enemies called the Bone Breakers. As long as you can corner them with a combo, they're honestly not that hard to deal with. Last group of sentinels for our boss. Toss that. These guys are pretty simple, but they do have a decent amount of health. That's why I tend to like to group them. So for the other big meme of the game, Juggernauts are stage 5 boss, and the question that everybody seems to want to ask is, why did they feel the need to give Juggernaut a bazooka? And your guess as good as mine. Jugs only has one attack that really bothers me. The gun blast honestly isn't that bad in JP. It's really slow. Very easy to telegraph. It does have very good range, of course, and once it fires, then it's really, really fast. But the attack that really bothers me is a shoulder charge, and I'm trying to see if I can bait it out. Hit this. So what I'll do is I'll cycle him all the way down here. Sometimes he charges. If he charges, I can just loop him back. If he doesn't charge, then I can just hit him. Yeah, this is fine. Whew. It's a really good thing his charge isn't invincible. If it were invincible, I would have never been able to do that. Alright, so I'll finish off Juggernaut. Fairly easy boss. Just make sure you get good at your spacing. This, however, stage 6, even though I have a lot of fun on stage 5, this is the hardest stage in the game, especially for Storm. I think some characters may have an easier time. Like, I don't mind this stage with Colossus for the most part, who I also think is very good in this game. But Storm has issues, particularly when it comes to the boss. Some of her downsides include the fact that her attacks aren't that fast, and against the boss in particular, that actually can cause some issues. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of these guys. I can move forward and take out a turret with a mutant power, but I'm not gonna do that just yet. Right about now I am, though. Whoa, okay, and no thank you. Do this, because that guy has a health up. These white sentinels are actually a pretty big threat. They're the highest health sentinels we've seen so far. They actually take 3 cycles of knockdown to defeat. But in some instances, if you get like a throw or something, or if you just try to kill them on the ground, it can take less damage to kill them. But the fact that it takes that long to kill them on the ground like that can be really bad. That was rude. Definitely did not want that to happen. That cost me the ability to use another mutant power. Bear with me. May have to pay attention here. Perish the thought, right? All right, let me do some math. Oh my god. If I mentioned I really, really, really hate red Samuses? No. So this is gonna be tricky. I actually do have to pay attention here. As I mentioned, this stage is really, really hard. Especially if these guys end up just playing on their side, just not coming over to my side. I'll have Lucy. Green ones are especially notorious for doing that. Take this guy out. I'm trying to set this up specifically so I can let these guys show up. All these pyro clones. Take them all out. Now, I'd love to use the extra mutant power I have here, but I'm not going to be able to do that because of all the damage I took. So I'm going to do this. Okay. Quick segment of Bone Breakers. There's only going to be 4 of them, but we can... Well, I didn't want that guy to looping that way, but we can take him out. There we go. One more health up here. Gonna let all these guys spawn. Really? Sometimes they just go off screen. Then that can happen. Take this energy pellet. Get that. Here's our boss. For those that have asked me before, which I've been asked this question a lot, this actually is an X-Men villain. It's a villain by the name of the Living Monolith, who in this game takes up the moniker of the Living Pharaohs. There are 3 of them. We don't have to fight them all at once, but if the first phase takes too long, then we are going to have to. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. They're really degenerate. The first 2 only have this one attack. It's the Cycle Slice, sorry. How did I pronounce that? Sight Slice, sorry. And if they get that couple with iframes, it's really bad for us. Our range is really good, but unfortunately theirs is better. That's why it's such a hard fight for Storm. It's actually an easier fight for characters that have faster attacks, that don't have as much range. Like someone like Colossus can just go up and just jab them in the face a bunch of times and he really can't do anything. Whereas Storm is just stuck in this constant spacing battle that she can have a really hard time winning. Plus these bosses have a lot of cycles of health. See if I can combo it from here. I might be able to. The cool thing about the Pharaohs is if they decide to use the last one in particular, he gets another move where he can do different eye lasers, one straight, one diagonal down. If he decides to do the eye lasers, which he usually does with his iframes, then what's going to happen is we get to respond to that. Whereas if he does the melee attack, then we don't. But they usually do the eye laser, and we can respond to that and just kill him. Pretty decent. Just get out of the way and just finish him off. So this is our last full stage. We're on the asteroid now. Pretty hard stage, because it features a boss rush, which I think may have been a first in a Konami beat-em-up. Didn't see it in any of the TMNT titles, that's for sure. I'm gonna save my mutant powers for these turrets. These turrets are really annoying. They can anti-air me if I try to dive on them. Dives are very effective, but sometimes the game just decides to do video game things. Take this health up. So we have 3 segments of bone breakers. Nothing too difficult. If we can make sure they loop up into that, and we'll be able to take care of them lickety-split. I did not want this guy doing that, though. There we go. Mutant power those guys away. Let all these guys spawn, do this. The reason to do that is just because there's no reason not to. These guys are all going to show up. I'm going to take all their goodies. 2 energy stocks is worthless to us, but why not? So these boss fights, with the exception, I think, of Emma, are all on reduced health. Like Blob, for example, only takes 5 cycles to finish off. We can also fight more than 1 boss at once. It's not ideal, but we can do it. Fighting Blob and Wendigo is probably the only one that I don't necessarily mind. Could probably go faster with speed, but you're not going to get safety out of that. And plus, you know, it's a 1cc run. Hey, what's up, BBH? Yeah, Crime Fighters does have that insane boss rush at the end where you have to fight all 8 bosses at once. I actually completely forgot about that. Club that guy down. So Emma can be kind of annoying. I actually got a good setup here, and then I did get her to the left. If you have to fight her to the right, all she's going to do is zone you with her fireball. That's actually really bad. I did not want that to happen. That was a bad hit. Did not calculate those iframes. Still an easy fight because it's short. For Nimrod, similarly, I'd love to be able to get him over to the left, but it's not necessary. He just likes to space because his laser is really silly and degenerate. We're going to take him out here. God, he wants to yell. I'm going to do this. Just so I can get rid of Nimrod. Jug, similar to Emma, I want him going on to the left side. So I can do this. He's just going to follow me up and down. I'm just going to be able to hit him. Occasionally, he'll try to go past me over to the right, but that's not very common. So it's just a matter of just stun lock against the wall. Alright, Mags. Gonna fight Mags here, who only has 2 attacks, one of which is never going to bother me. It's this left hook that he can throw. It's really slow. It does do a lot of damage, but I can't remember the last time I was hit by it. Whereas this kick, the kick is an issue. It's a 3 damage hard knockdown kick that, if he pins you against the wall, that can actually kill you. Because if he just does it again on wake up as a meaty, you can't respond to it. Like, it's actually just gonna beat you to death. Finish this off with a stock. And oh look, it was Mystique all along. What a surprise. The timeless X-Men meme that she is. So we rescued the professor, but in classic fashion, we're not done. Now we fight actual Magneto, who has a badass intro. I gotta give him that. Dude just burst through the wall. I'm gonna let him do his little taunt. You can actually use a mutant power to break the shield there. And by break it, I mean it just gets rid of it. Like, it doesn't actually do damage to him. It just lets you be able to just continue the fight right away. I'm actually gonna go ahead and spend it here. I don't anticipate him being able to hit me that much, even though I'm on no miss pace here. Please. So there's a couple things to note about Magneto. When he taunts, he can actually cancel his taunt into anything unless he starts laughing. If he's laughing, then that's a commitment, and he actually will be able to just get hit by anything you throw at him. That was unfortunate. Those were some iframes. I couldn't beat that. If he does shield again, I'm probably going to break through it again. Other than that, it's just cycling loops. Multiple hits are really good. Do it again. Major attacks to avoid. The kick is not as threatening as Mystique's was, because he has to combo into a knockdown. His fireball's a real issue. It does 4 damage, and it's really fast, but you can also just beat it. I'm just going to go to 1 health, just because maybe I'll lose a life, maybe I won't. But from here, it's just going to be a bit of this. And time's going to be on his last hit, which he's got a few more cycles here. We're definitely not on PB pace anymore, but that's okay. I'll see what happens here as far as, like, the number of lives. No. There we go. I can't break this one. What I'm going to hope to do, though, is get him over to the right. That's also terrifying to try to interact with when he does the air fireball version there. So what I try to avoid is him just hugging the left wall, because it's not fun. Yeah, that's on me. I don't know if that was necessarily greedy, but I was trying to get him to go back over to the right, and he doesn't really cooperate with that. So no longer a no-miss run. It'll still be a 1cc at time. And Mags goes down. Whew. Well, couldn't get the Deathless run. That would have been cool, but still. Anything underestimating that game, especially as like even just a 1 credit run, I'm not unhappy with it. This is only my 3rd time running this category in a marathon, maybe 4th, and it's always lived up to the potential. It's such a fun run. It's unfortunate that in this country it essentially can only be emulated. Like this version has not been released on a digital download or any console release for that matter. So it's unfortunate, but in any case, that's still game. Felt really, really good to be able to get that. Hope you all enjoyed it. Get these cool ending credits too with all the comic panels. Like I'm a big fan of this. This was like one of the golden ages of the X-Men, like the late 70s, early 80s. Essentially the early portion of Claremont's run, who lasted something like almost 20 years on the comic. Such cool stuff. I love this game. Anyway, thank you so much everybody for the GGs. Hope you all still consider sticking around for the rest of SGL. Up next, it looks like we have my boy Kavik with some Mega Man DOS, and that speed run is amazing. So you all have a fantastic rest of your night, and take care.